Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right. Welcome to the CWC Podcast, the home for the latest news, rumors, and interviews around the sport of chuckwagon racing. I'm your host, David Selby, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. You guys doing okay tonight? On today's show, we have so much news to share. Lots from this past Saturday at the ACWRA meeting, an annual banquet where awards were given. The rule changes were announced. We officially have a schedule for 2025 race season. We're going to cover all of that. So we've got a lot of good news to share from Cowboy Channel this week as well. So if you love wagon racing, this is a week that you do not want to miss. It's all coming up on the CWC Podcast. So what's up, guys? How you doing this week? We missed you, Andy, this last weekend.
It was an interesting week, had, funeral services to attend and had the reining horse show that we did. Got some really cool shots there. Tried some stuff we'd never tried before. So that was pretty cool. I basically had to commute between Ardmore and Claremore, Oklahoma, though. So anybody knows where those two places are, they know that's not a short commute.
More than 30 minutes then?
Several times, yeah. Yeah. About 8 times.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So everything went okay with funeral services and stuff?
Yeah. Good service. Pretty obviously, emotional, and we did the graveside stuff, and yeah.
Did the whole
thing.
A
lot of family that I haven't seen in forever, and it's a shame that that's what it takes, right? But
yeah,
sometimes that's the way it goes. So
I feel that, man. Early mid 2024, we had my first grandparent pass out of the 4.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, it was just crazy to see so much family that I hadn't seen in so long. I mean, long, but it was also like really refreshing too, and kind of funny how even more with family probably than other things. I mean, we just picked right up. So many of us, like all these cousins that I have that I don't keep up with.
Right.
But it was like, all right, funeral's over. We're gonna go back to the place that a bunch of them were staying at. It's like, you guys want to get beer? You guys want beer? Let's get beer. And then we all just hung out for like several hours and just caught up. And yeah, man, it was cool. Just like, dang, why don't we do this more? We used to do this every Christmas.
Right.
But yeah, so it is in life, man. But glad to hear that it went well. And you're here with us this week. Justin, you attended an event over the weekend. Was it good?
Yeah, it was overall good. Got to award David with a very special and unique award for Arkansas. So that was fun. And then also the buckle that Diamond S Express got for being in third for Big Meal. Alex gave it to me for getting them there on that last race. So
cool.
That was fun.
I didn't know that. That's super special, man.
Yeah. But overall, it was a good weekend. It's always rowdy, but I had a good time. What about yourself? Because you attended the same event.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. There was a lot of good stuff this weekend at the event. Andy, not to rub it in, but you really missed out. It was a good one. Yeah, I guess this is as good a time as any to go ahead and bring up that Justin went out of his way to apply for what you call the Arkansas Traveler Certificate, and this was not something I knew about, and I didn't know he had done it. I didn't know he had applied. I didn't know he got it, and that he was going to present it to me right there. And I guess it would be right in the middle of the awards ceremony, and he came up and read this whole thing about the backstory of the Arkansas Traveler, which is like some awesome, like, I guess, folklore or for Arkansas specifically. And if you know, you know. it's kind of this tale of like an out of state traveler, if you will, that comes upon I guess an Arkansas native sitting on his porch playing a song, and I guess I looked at this a lot since it's happened. You can it might be a fiddle, it might be a banjo, but he's playing a fiddle, I guess, and
Okay.
he's playing this same like riff or this same piece of this song over and over, and he's not very hospitable, and he's just kind of being a smart ass to the traveler, and then the traveler says, "Hey, why do you keep playing that same piece of that song over and over?" And he says, "Oh, well, I heard it or picked it up, and I don't know the rest of it, so I'm just playing this part." And he's like, the traveler says, "Well, let me see that instrument of yours, because I think I know the rest of it." And he plays it, and it's just this great like folky tune that is the Arkansas Traveler's song, and it's cool. You should look it up. There's a million versions of it. It's very well known, if you know. And anyways, so from that point, from the way I understand it, the Arkansas native is like, "Oh dang, welcome in, set the table. You're allowed to stay as long as you want," and they're just like awesome after that. And then I think that the idea is that the Arkansas Traveler or the Traveler goes off and is now an ambassador for the state of Arkansas and trusted as a friend pretty much to go and represent Arkansas amongst the rest of the nation, the world, or wherever he may go. So anyways, this is something that gets signed, or it's approved by the Secretary of State, the way I understand it, and then the governor actually signs the certificate. And then if you have a really good friend, they go and they take the certificates and the paperwork and they actually frame it like Justin did in a really nice wood frame with a glass cover and everything. And it's hanging over here in my office in the hallway now. So anybody that walks in will see that, and I can tell the story.
That's pretty cool,
dude. It was the most surreal thing. I don't know if I've actually ever been put into true surprise in that big of a manner. Not to put down anybody that's ever done something nice for me, but that was really, really awesome. So thank you, Justin. That was fantastic, man. That was a big moment.
Andy, you should have seen his face. It was like a jaw dropped and was like. And then he got up there and I was like, "Do you want to say something?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he just goes, "Wow."
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you should have had somebody at least have their phone out and film this. I mean, man, that would have been.
We had it was being filmed. We had filmed the whole awards banquet. Actually, Savannah was running the camera for.
Oh, good. Okay, so it's somewhere then.
So I didn't even have to be like, "Oh, let me just set my camera up so I can see myself up here." Savannah was actually running the video camera. It was one of those things. It was just, I guess, it played out how it was supposed to, and it was great. It was awesome, man. I still don't really have total words to explain how it feels, except that, there are times in your life where you're given something where it's like, you feel entitled to something, or you think you earned something. Maybe it's a prize or an accomplishment, something or other. To me, this was just like a very grand gesture, and it was so relevant to me for I guess, as like a heartwarming type kind of gesture that is so relevant, because Arkansas is not my native place, and it's where I travel to do these events, and it just made so much sense in a lot of crazy ways. It just struck all the chords in my heart and it filled me all the way up, and I just feel very special and very very loved. So thank you, Justin, and the whole room of people there. The way that it that moment was received, it was magical. That's the only word I have. It was magical, and it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. So it was cool.
That's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah. Glad you were here so I could tell you about it and not feel stupid.
Yeah.
So thank you, Justin, a million times over. That was really cool, man.
Not a problem.
No problem. We'll do it again next year.
No, probably not.
That was crazy, man.
You only get one of those, dude.
Yeah, that was neat. All right, well, let's get into it. So news and notes. make sure you get over and subscribe at chuckwagonchannel.com, and you can relive the ride. It's $11 a month or $99 a year. So many good things happening right now with wagon racing. I can tell 2025 is going to be an awesome and big year. I'm more motivated than ever, and there's just a lot of stuff happening. So, and to build on that, season 2 of the Great Wagon Race, we're putting that out. We released episode 2 this last Friday. I was lucky enough to show up down there in Benton Friday night, the night before the whole Saturday of events at the Saline County Fairgrounds. I got a table set up, brought a TV in because I wanted to be able to show some content this year. 65-inch TV, gigantic TV. It was great. And
Heck yeah.
and I couldn't keep enough koozies on that table. They were just disappearing left and right, and stickers and everything. It was great. And yeah, that Friday night, I was I was able to show episode 2 with just a handful of people that were already there. There's probably 15 or 20 people or so, and I took a selfie of everybody and I put it on Facebook. A couple people were like, "Hey, why didn't you tell me?" And I apologize. We probably should have made it public and just said something, but that wasn't the intent. You know, the intent was just to get in there and get set up, and I was like, you know, when in Rome, let's just watch this thing. And you know, I'm watching that show in the same room as like Full Throttle Loca with Jana and Full House Brad.
Oh, they were in there, huh?
Yep. So I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but
Oh.
in that episode, we kind of crack into that first day of buckboard competition at national championships, and I may or may not have felt the temperature in the room rise just a little bit, like being there with all the competition and stuff. But it was great, and yeah, I don't even care if it was awkward. It was a lot of fun. So this Friday, we're going to have episode 3 out, which will feature a record-shattering performance by a particular race team. I'm not going to spill the beans. You know, if you don't know, you better watch it. And we're going to continue to delve into the heart of the event, the people and the nightlife. It's a good transition out of race day 1 and into those final 2 days of racing that will come in episode 4 and 5. Episode 3 will be available at 6 p.m. Central Time this Friday, exclusively on the Chuckwagon channel, not Cowboy channel. Not to be confused. It's the Chuckwagon channel. So go check it out. We'll release these episodes weekly until we have the 5th and final episode out for season 2. Last week, we spoke about learning more with the Cowboy channel. I was able to speak with a couple of their people over the last week, confirming that we do have fantastic advertising opportunities before us. And we are glad to share season 1 is going to be aired next week, Tuesday, February 4th, 6 days through Sunday the 9th. And those are going to be 7 p.m. Central Time each night. That last one, Sunday night, will be an hour-long finale for episodes 6 and 7. And yeah, that's exciting. Cowgirl channel, not Cowboy channel. So we'll get to see how that performs there, which is exciting, especially because the ratings from Cowboy channel showed that we have a good following, good interest from the female audience. So hopefully that'll go over well, and we'll get ratings back on that. And if they're good, we'll tell you about it. And if not, we'll just not bring it up. But we're expecting that will go well.
I think I hate to invoke it. I think if anything ever happens with season 2 on there, I think that's going to be even better for the Cowgirl channel because of the story involved. I think that will be fantastic if that happens.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Not to like try to portray season 2 as like this girly thing. It's not.
No.
Like, it's just that we have some very prevalent competitors who happen to be female, which is relevant because there are not a whole lot of female drivers, especially in the classic, and so it's cool to kind of be able to cater to that side of things with something that is so cowboy and so old Western, you know. So I'm stoked about it, man. I think it's gonna be cool to see how it does. Another just kind of like to touch on it, interesting piece, having that conversation with Cowboy channel this week. It was good to know that with the episodes that we air, with the content that we air, we have some leeway with the advertising. And so it allows us to go and get sponsors that get guaranteed placement on our content.
Oh,
So, versus going out and, just having to try to help somebody figure out like a nationwide campaign or whatever that goes through all of Cowboy Channel programming or whatever. If you want to have relevant advertising with relevant content, Chuckwagon,
yeah.
that's where we can be really effective, and we're going to have some leeway there, and that's exciting. So we're right in the thick of it right now, where I'm starting to have some conversations with racetrack owners and stuff, and I'm talking to the oafs, because this is a joint project between the oafs and I, the oafs and the Chuckwagon channel, with
Yeah.
the docu-series specifically.
Right.
And so anything that we do there, we do that together. Like that's something that we have to be united with anything that we push forward business wise. And so had a really long conversation with Apple today, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. And I don't have anything concrete yet, but I'll keep people in the loop. I think we're on a journey, and it's exciting. It's exciting to share about it. I like sharing about it. So let me know if I shut up, but it's fun. Okay, let's just get into this last weekend at Benton. I would not know where to begin if I didn't write all this down, but let's go out of order. Because I think that like the actual like news portion of kind of what happens at the meeting is probably where we're going to spend more time talking. And we already kind of hit on some award stuff there. Justin mentioned the Arkansas Traveler Award, which was fantastic. But another thing that was very, I guess, spontaneous or surprise, Jana Priscilla and Full Throttle Loca, they went up there to receive their championship buckles for the points championship. And her buckle had been replaced with a buckle that said, "Will you marry me?" And so they get their buckles, they come over, and I'm going to take their picture in front of like the banner for the ACWRA. And Cindy Wheeler, the cook for Full Throttle Loca, she knows about all this. I know about it. A couple of us know about it. And, of course, Jana's not going to look at her buckle, and so I think Cindy, and she's like, I don't know exactly what happened. It was just like kind of a blur, but like, it's like, hey, look at that buckle. And she kind of looks down. And when she looks down, in swoops Matt Smith, aka Peaches. He gets down on one knee, and she was just flabbergasted, completely in shock. She said yes, and it was
that's
a
fortunate, right?
special moment. And then I got to look at that ring too, and the ring it kind of had the Full Throttle colors going on it. It was a super super cool. It just shows how important the Chuckwagon racing is to them. And so it was another really, really special moment that just fills your heart up, man. It was just one of those days that I think everybody left there, feeling good in several different ways. I mean, everybody was drinking, so it was good. It was a lot of fun. What'd you think of all that, Justin? Where were you at when that happened? Were you standing up there still, or?
No, I was actually kind of off to the side over by the main door, but that was. I had already known that it was going to happen. In fact, in this past race season, Matt came to me and he was like,
"Are you her dad?" Because he thought you were her dad and he wanted to get your approval.
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, but
misread that.
He came to me and he was like, I really want to propose to Jana, but I don't want to do it like how everybody else does it. And he's like, I'm really thinking about getting a buckle. And I'm like, oh, you should. That's awesome. And anyways, I kind of knew that was coming, but then was confirmed before it happened this weekend, and it was awesome. I love them both. I'm pretty close to both of them, and they're awesome people, and they really have a great relationship, and I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they didn't find each other until later, I mean, in recent years. So
Yeah.
I guess depends on what depends on what your standards are, I guess. I mean, maybe traditionally you meet somebody when you're younger or like whatever. I mean, these guys, they're like peas and carrots, they just go together, and it it warms my heart to see their relationship. And I've only known them for a couple of years, really, and it's cool just to be around them and to see that all come to fruition and see the proposal. And it's cool to just be in a room of all those people that get to be a part of that with them. And
Yeah.
um and so we'll see what they do for their ceremony. I don't know what they'll do, but I hope I can be there for that too. Be special. um So the awards, generally speaking, we've already talked about them. We've covered them. We know who the champions are. We covered that in depth on a previous episode. But those were some of the highlights. I'm trying to think in the awards ceremony, if there was anything else.
One thing,
Yeah,
Outrider of the Year.
yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was really good.
They actually brought that back. They didn't have that. I know for sure they didn't have it last year, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have it the year before that either. But they did bring it back, and Tristan Head won it this year, which is he's fully deserving of it. He's a great outrider, and especially with everything that happened this year with Stormy, his horse, and everything that just kind of went on. I think he I feel like he got really emotional, and it was a really good moment.
Yeah, it was special. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. Great moment. His dad, I talked to him too. He was so proud of him too, and you just love to see that stuff. And I mean, there were a lot of other awards too. There were a lot of other, I guess, awards, but like there was a lot of recognition. It's just it's a one of a kind, once a year kind of event, and so a lot of things happen. And yeah, I mean, if you weren't there and you've never been to one, but you're into racing, if you're a member, especially, I mean, it's a great event. I mean, they're going to outgrow that building.
Well, really, they already have almost.
I wondered if they would move it this year. I guess I'm glad that they stayed there. It was still cozy, I guess, even though it was it was pretty full. But if the growth continues like it did from that last year to this year, I would foresee them having to make a change. But um, yeah, so the day kicked off at 1 p.m. I'll just get into it here. Annual members meeting. And for very good reasons, it started a little bit late. As I was just saying, there were so many people coming through the doors, uh, and they were still like getting their memberships paid for. Because the idea is that you come in and you renew or you sign up for your membership, and then you are allowed to attend the meeting. Well, the line was long, and it was not stopping. So they finally just started the meeting, and at that point, like they basically didn't start it until there was only standing room anyway. So it was like, okay, here we go. The board granted us, the Chuckwagon channel, courtesy of updating the association members on what we are doing, how far we've come in the past year with the channel. And then they went right into new business, which consisted of the current and the new track owners coming up, saying a few words prior to their events being approved by the association. Um, and I'm glad to say that all 10 tracks, not 8 like last year, all 10 tracks were accepted. And
Wow.
we've got 2 more races to look forward to this year. And I think rather than just like shout them out, let's just go down the list here. Justin, do you want to just kind of go down and we can talk about them as we go?
Absolutely. So March 22nd and 23rd is when Loretta Lynn's will be. Typically, it's later in the year, but they actually chose this date. One, it wasn't going to work because they were doing back-to-back races, and two, I think they have another event planned for that time, but also I think it will really help. For one, the weather. It was so hot last year, so
Yeah.
I think that will really help out this year. But that one is at Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, at
Yeah.
Loretta Lynn's Ranch.
Yeah, that was gosh, I don't know if Kim Mayo, who does a lot of their promoting, she had said something to me. I mean, even just days before the uh, the event, before the meeting. So I didn't even know when that was going to be until
Mm.
just recently. I mean, since our last show that we recorded. So yeah, that's big news. I mean, that's early. They are taking that spot of first race of the year, and
Hmm.
they're gonna roll the dice on the weather.
Yeah.
It could be cold. It could be nice. I think that's probably your options. I don't think it'll be hot.
Yeah,
No.
so
not in April.
But
so
they were
March.
kind of hoping for something like that. I remember when we had that episode when we were talking about that. So,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
I mean,
They are the fair weather lovers over there because they're gonna, with having a fall event and then having another event in the year. I mean, they're early, so
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mind that though. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm looking forward to that, um, and it puts them out of harm's way with any other events. Really, it's like for everybody that's kind of ready to get out and stretch their legs again. I think that they'll have a good turnout for that race. What do we got next?
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, I
Or-
love it when you read them.
Oh, okay. April 5th and 6th, we've got the cow cutter race in Sparkman, Arkansas, which, if you know, last year was the first race. So they're going down to the second race. But it was a great race last year, great track. So we're grateful for another year of being in Sparkman, and they've got some great things coming. The owners of the track were there, and they talked about adding more bathrooms, adding more water than they had last year. So I think it's really going to be a great track to go to, and I think they're making improvements, so it'll be good.
Yeah, I think everybody was happy with how that event went. And to kind of reiterate, they are all about that race building up their small community there in Sparkman. And last year, and I don't know what I don't know what proceeds will be going to, or the benefit will be going to, or whatever this year. But it's last year it was the rodeo arena for their high school, abandoned football field, small town, doesn't have a football program anymore. Um, they are just looking to do things to better their community and keep things alive there. And the event went really well. I could see them having a lot of success with their event.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got April 26th and 27th is going to be the Seven Springs race in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Uh, that's a great race every year, really, and
Danny Foster.
yeah, Danny Foster, and they are changing things, not necessarily for the track or for anything like that, but for the racers, and so if you weren't at the event this past weekend and you're a racer, maybe you should ask another racer what the
Yep.
change is. But no, it's always a good race. It is kind of a far trip for a lot of people, but it's well worth it. Danny Foster and his wife put in a lot of effort and money into that track and that whole land they've got out there, and it's really a sight to see. If you haven't been there, it's a good one to go to.
It's a great race. It's just it's one of a kind for the layout of the land there. And I was rolling in last year for my first time being there, and before I even like got over down the hill and everything, I put my drone in the air to kind of get a lay of the land, and it's just so cool because you got like tons of campers up on this higher level, and then it just
Mhm.
goes down, and it's this huge area, this clearing, if you will, that they have their arena, the racetrack, and all this additional camping and stuff. And it's it's awesome. And I didn't go trail riding, but all the people that I talked to that do trail ride said they loved it. And then they have the Rattlesnake Saloon, which is a really cool,
That's awesome.
kind of a cool, like, I guess you'd say it's a tourist attraction, but it's a legit, like, cool place.
Yeah, in a cave.
Yeah.
So it's
like,
it's
yeah.
a restaurant that's down in a cave
Yeah.
and a cavern,
mhm.
you know.
Right.
But another thing that's really cool about that race is that's when Tuscumbia does their Frontier Days, and they all have that right there at that Seven Springs.
Oh.
So a lot of the campers that are there are not only racers or spectators, but it's the
Oh.
people there that are putting on the rodeo and the bull riding and everything
Okay.
else. So it's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's a good event. I'd say it's one of the bigger ones. Yeah. Let's keep going.
So we've got May 3rd and 4th, Greasy Bend races in Batesville, Arkansas. Now, see, last year, it was around the same time, but we had a lot of storms going on that weekend, and we made it successfully through the first day. And the second day, we went to start, and we had an incident with a horse, and they decided, with the impending rain that was supposed to be moving in, they decided to cancel the rest of that race. But overall, I think the experience was good for everybody. I think it was a good track, and I look forward to going out there again.
Yep. Jason Taylor and his crew put that deal on, and I didn't get to go last year, but had a short conversation with him the other day, and we're supposed to be connecting with him and his team really soon to talk about what we can do this year. So excited for that one.
Yeah. Then we've got right May 24th and 25th at Whiskey Ridge for Racing on the Ridge in Malvern, Arkansas, and that is a great race to go to. I just can't say enough about them. We love Todd and Cindy and
Oh, yeah.
all them. We love the Whiskey Ridge bunch, and I just can't say enough about them. I talk too much about them. Go ahead, David.
Well, we got there's some cool
Yeah, you're wearing
improvements
their shirt.
this time. Right? Yeah. I've got one of their shirts somewhere. I need to wear that. They've got some cool improvements this year. Well, they usually do anyway, but they've got some really cool ones this year. So.
Absolutely. They added on to their
Announcer stand.
announcer stand. Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
David. They added on to their announcer stand, so it's actually a lot higher than it was before. And it's like a tower, and
Yeah.
the announcer goes up to the top. It's got speakers on every side, so it will be able to be heard better, and a better sound system. So I'm really looking forward to that race. And Andy, if you come again, like you didn't you like that last year and run the drone?
Last 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
there.
So I'm sure you can get your spot up there in that tower. And
Get you a breeze.
yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see what it's like flying in the window. We
yeah,
already know what that looks like.
yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Flying through the woods.
For the next race, we have a new race. So June 14th and 15th is the 11-point showdown in Pocahontas, Arkansas. Let me tell you something. I lived in Walnut Ridge for a long time, and there is not a whole lot to do in Walnut Ridge, Pocahontas area. So this is a great event for their area, and they're just trying to. The owners there, they talked for a while about what they're doing. They're really trying to build up events in the area, and I think this is going to be a great start to a very long career of Chuckwagon racing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that area. Pocahontas is a beautiful country. Now, once you get up there, it's about nothing but farmland. So just depends on what you consider beauty is. But I look forward to that race. But that's June 14th and 15th in Pocahontas, 11-point showdown.
Yeah, those new owners, they walked up right after the meeting and introduced themselves and said that they'll be reaching out. So I expect we'll be covering that race. It's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. That's awesome. Next race is the June 28th and 29th, Baker Spain Stampede. Baker Spain Stampede in Greenfield, Missouri. Is that right? Greenfield or Greenfield?
And it's actually Greenfield or South Greenfield, Missouri.
Yeah, South Greenfield.
It's hardly findable on the map specifically, but you'll do better to just look up Baker Spain Stampede if you're Googling it.
It'll take you right to it.
It'll take
And
you
I
there.
actually saw on their Facebook page they had posted that, or I know maybe you, David, you shared it, that the guy from Yellowstone is going to be doing the concert.
Yeah, Luke Grimes. Yeah, and he's not even like their headline act. They've got Whiskey Myers on Friday night, which they consider that really. I think Friday night's really their premiere night, and then Saturday they'll have Luke Grimes and man, they just have a packed schedule of like big time bands and stuff coming in. I mean, for what you're going to pay to be down there for the week. Oh my gosh! Like you just will not. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you of a place that you could go and pay that, and then get to camp and do the whole thing, and get to go to all these concerts, get all the entertainment of the Chuckwagon races and all the other events going on. I mean,
oh man, the value for dollar there is insane.
Yeah,
especially now because I just saw that video they just posted.
Yeah,
I mean, now we have an arena. I know there was some apprehension about that in the past, but I always said, like, if they would put an arena down there, it would blow up. So I expect huge things.
Yeah,
seeing that coming.
You just look at what they're doing. I mean, all the money and everything they're putting into it. They, I've because I'm an hour away, I've been able to spend quite a bit of time. I mean, several occasions of going over there, shooting for the day, and just capturing what they're doing and getting to tell some of that story has been really fun. And getting to know the people, Josh and Jordan, and the team. I mean, obviously, when you have something like this size of operation, you kind of end up falling on one or two people like that you kind of go back to, or they are the face or whatever. But they really have a team, and the team of people that show up every day and work on the ranch and work on the venue is what I should say. It's pretty impressive, the commitment and the loyalty and just the passion that they have for growing the event. So I'm excited to go back and get that this year. And we'll be like a week shy of having our third child. So we'll be crossing fingers that that we hit that 4th of July due date. But but yeah, that'll be a good time, and I expect we will all three be there, and it'll be
a plan.
Yes. So another thing is the one thing that Josh got up and he wanted to reiterate to all the racers is that there will no longer be any parking your wagons in the middle of the track at all. So they have a spot designated to park the wagons over by the starting line, but no more parking in the middle of the track.
You mean like out in the infield?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They'll have their rodeo folk go out there and they'll do that whole thing with the chutes and stuff, but they're not going to have teams tying up out there. They're not going to have spectators walking across the track. You just think about how Clinton does it. I mean, you think about how they just have this natural mitigation system for people being on the track, even though there's no like hard tie, like a rope or anything like that, really. I mean, you just know you do not step out there. And I think that's what they'll accomplish this year. And their staging area being right next to the pavilion will be great. And then that area where all that staging is also going to be right there where you can turn around and watch the concerts now. So you can pull all your horses and buggies and all kinds of stuff up. That's exclusively for people with horses and wagons and stuff to be able to see concerts on the ground instead of like having to be behind the pavilion. Yeah, they cleared all that stuff out over there, and their small stage that they used to have, it's all going to be out of the way. It's going to be way more.
So they've drastically changed the landscape.
Yeah, it's big time. It's going to be much better for the spectator this year. but it's much safer too. So
Yeah, I was going to say, not only is that just a spectator view situation on the infield thing, but a safety thing. Obviously, we've experienced it firsthand. It's just, it's a good move.
yeah. All right.
All right, so July 19th and 20th is the Rats race in Camden, Arkansas. And this was a huge hit last year. It was our first year doing a race, and there was a lot of people that showed up. They're talking about having more food vendors out there, having the bands out there again. So it should be a really good race. And Jerry Langley is the one that puts that on with Alex Slaughter. And, they did a really great job last year and look forward to another great year this year.
Yeah, they did a good job. Good race. Jerry's an awesome guy. Big heart. Alex did a great job to help promote that last year and get it all put together. And those guys were at the Jerry and obviously Alex. They were down there at the meeting too. It was good to see those guys. I didn't really get to talk to Jerry, so I'll be reaching out to those guys soon and be excited to go to that one again. It was a good race, and it's kind of like one of those like last stop before Clinton type things for a lot of your association racers. So it's a it's a good race there late July.
Yeah. Then we've got October 4th and 5th, Kentucky, the West Kentucky race in Murray, Kentucky. Last year was the first year I went. They had an incredible turnout. And they had really good the really good thing I like about them is they're donating all the proceeds from the auction and everything over there to the Children's Hospital, St. Jude's?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just an incredible place, incredible people, great race, great rodeo. It's awesome.
Yeah, they do it. That's what makes them like especially unique is what they do for the Children's Hospital. It's very, very, very heartwarming, and they raised, I think, $74,000 this past year. I think that's what they said, and that's just awesome, man. I mean, you think about what that could do for people in need, for kids. As a parent, it touches me. Just it's something I'm very passionate about for sure to make sure that that race, their voices are heard and stuff. So we'll be talking to those guys. I'm sure we'll be back out there this year. And yeah, so who brings up the caboose here?
Well, another new race. It's going to be November 1st and 2nd. It's going to be Outlaw Nation Chuckwagon races in Hamburg, Arkansas by Chase Outlaw and the Outlaw family. That I'm really excited about that. They did say that they're going to have some bull riding events and stuff like that. Which,
of course, right?
Chase said that anybody can sign up for the bull riding. So,
really,
if you want to get out there and go bull riding, contact Chase Outlaw.
So, first impressions, Andy, hearing about this.
I'm very, very interested. I'm very curious about how this is going to go. There's got to be some bull ride theme, something going on, right? I mean, we're talking about Chase Outlaw here. So, I don't know, anything about the place or where it's at. The only thing I can gauge any expectations off are the people, because we talk to them every year at Clinton. And I mean, that gives you some high expectations. I mean, because look at who you're talking about. So,
yeah, I mean, if you think about how they promote the Chuck and Buck and what that did in year 1 and year 2, you got to think that with his ability to promote with the sponsors he's able to get, with his connections through professional bull riding, you got to think. I mean, I don't know why they'd have it if they didn't see some great potential. And then how does that time of the year, as far as like where they put the placement of this race, how does that strike you guys?
So this is what I'm going to say. It's exactly typically the same weekend that they do the Hurricane Havoc or
Yeah.
Halloween Havoc race in
Yeah.
West Kentucky, or not West Kentucky, Hurricane Mills
Yeah, you got it.
Hurricane
at
Mills.
Loretta
Yeah.
Lynn's.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
So it should be interesting to see because I think they're still having that Halloween race
Oh.
at Loretta Lynn's. So it should be interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what they'll do. We'll talk to them soon. We'll let you guys know what we learn. I will say, if you have an opinion on it, I'd be probably reaching out to the Mayos because they're going to be the ones that know, and they probably. I would assume that this was news to them pretty recently too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you are passionate about the Hurricane Mills race, I'd say be reaching out to Ken Mayo and them because that could influence a decision for them. So be reaching out to them, and yeah, I mean, it seems like I guess the way I look at this one is it's a last race of the season kind of thing. You know, if it wasn't the last race of the season, it'd be one thing, but it's
Yeah.
the last race of the association year. And if you are an association racer and you're vying for any of those top 3 spots to
Yeah.
get a buckle, I don't know
Well,
why you wouldn't
and
be
see,
going to that.
that's the thing is that I mean, if you want to look at it in the perspective of a racer, Halloween Havoc was a great race to end out the year. It was the very last race. It wasn't a sanctioned race. It was an outlaw race. And it's just a fun race, right? But now you've been provided an opportunity that you have a sanctioned race. You get the points for it. But not only that, um, the fact is a lot of the rules on the races is that you're required to make like 6 or 8 races. I think they're at 8 races now, where you're required to make that amount of races to even get the opportunity to be like Outrider of the Year or whatever the case may be. And now you're provided with 10 races. So if you couldn't have made the 8 races last year, you couldn't have made 2, now you can make those up because you get 10 chances this year.
It's crazy. Yeah, you're gonna have to make half of them. Gonna have to make half of them. Keep that in mind. So if you were planning on making 4 this year, you need to make 1 more, and to be competitive. And I think that a lot of people in the association want to be competitive. I think that a lot of people in the association would love to race every weekend if they could, but there's a lot
Yeah.
there's a lot of travel involved, and I guess the good thing is, if okay, so the Hurricane Mills race aside, this is very, very conveniently set for a lot of your wagon racers that are kind of your Arkansas people, and that's location wise, it's probably great. It's technically Milo, Arkansas, which I think just sits outside of Hamburg, and Chase is going to promote it. I just think people are going to want to go to it, and they did mention that it would be Halloween themed, and so yeah, they're going all out for it. It's going to be one that we won't want to miss as far as covering it. It moves things around a little bit on that West Kentucky race. I think they kind of had that spot where they were the last association race of the year, and so I just with all these races, I wonder how attendance will kind of pan out this year.
Yeah.
Where will all of the cards fall? My hope is that every race has got ample entertainment, I guess is a good way to put it. I hope that there are enough racers that the event is a total success. We know that Chuckwagon racing is not the only thing to do at really almost any of these events.
Right.
There's going to be your concerts and your roping or your bull riding or your rodeo events. Like there's stuff going on. There's other things to do. There's the travel aspect of it that people just enjoy, and the camping. There's trail
Yeah.
rides. So, the list goes on, and it's just going to be interesting to see what people do this year. And then to put the cherry on top, there's a bonus track here that is not an association race. We'll cover outlaw races here at some point, but I was informed literally today that we have another race, another Chuckwagon race that's going to be put on in Glen, Mississippi, and it's the Reggie Little Outlaw race that will be held
Okay.
August 2nd and 3rd, Glen, Mississippi. I talked to Trent Little just through some messaging. He says it's going to be cash and buckles for prizes for winning. So you can look forward to, if you show up, you're going to get cash, and you have something to look forward to there, something to make your trip worthwhile. He plans on making it affordable for people to be there. I think that these are people that are part of that little group and Reggie Little. This is I'll just read what they put on Facebook on their page, which this is all just now kind of coming out. But Reggie was a pioneer in bringing chuckwagon racing east of the Mississippi River and dreamed of holding an event here in Glen, Mississippi on our ancestral farm where 6 generations of our family have lived. Little Creek Farm. We lost Reggie before he could realize his dream, but Reggie's family and friends have taken up his torch, and we are on a mission to bring you an event he would be proud of. Please mark your calendars and plan to join us on August 2nd and 3rd, 2025 for an exciting and unforgettable time for the whole family. Please bear with us while we iron out some details. Stand by for exciting news. In the meantime, please share. God bless. We're looking forward to seeing you. So that's a big deal. That's another race that's out there to the east that gives, like I was saying, you talk about racers that just want to race or racers that want to make the races that are feasible. I could see where your Trump trained people are going to probably be at that race. And I think that this is the Trump trained people who are involved with putting this one on. I think that's how I understand it. And so they had talked about doing something in October, which I know we just said November 1st and 2nd, but that's a day after October 31st. So let's just keep in mind that's the end of October. West Kentucky's at the start of October. So if you plugged another one in there right in the middle of it, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Not to mention people are already traveling from Arkansas out to, 2 weeks before that, they're traveling out to West Kentucky. And so this kind of creates one more stop if you need to do something before you go to the national championships at the end of August. So yeah, I mean, where will the cards fall this year? Hard to say. I just know that there's going to be a lot of events to go to.
Yeah.
I hope I can go to all of them. I hope I can. My wife, she doesn't know about all these yet, so we'll cross that bridge.
Well, we'll say this. It's really refreshing to see that this year's calendar of events, they have actually broken up all the dates. Last year we had a couple that were back to back. That were even sanctioned races.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they have either a week or 2 weeks in between each race until you get to July, and then you shoot all the way over to October and then to November 1st. So it's really refreshing to see that.
Yeah, I think the only ones that are going to really touch here is you're going to be looking at April 26, 27 for Tuscumbia.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you go straight over to Greasy Bend on May 3rd and 4th. Those are the only ones that are a week apart that I can see. So that's great. Yeah, if you live the Chuckwagon life, you can live it to the fullest this year because there are going to be a lot of events to go to. So I know we've been running here for quite a while. I knew today was going to be a long show. I will go ahead and push this into. So let's hit on some of these new rules that kind of came up at the meeting, and then we'll kind of segue out of here. But yeah, I was able to get my hands on some notes from Nancy from the award or from the meeting. She kind of threw that over my way, and if you weren't there, just to kind of tell you about it, when they were hitting on new business and stuff, they did all that, and then they kind of hit on the different the different board members all kind of covered some updates that were really relevant to their divisions, and that was something that I know that they were trying to do better of this year, was to try to move these issues or these changes into their divisions that they belong in, into their respective divisions. So kind of run it through here. Brad House, he kind of opened it up, talked about how, hey, we had a couple of board meetings this year that we informed everybody as well as we could. If you want to make a complaint, if you want to have a change, or if you have an idea, please come and present it to us at these meetings, or reach out to your division board member and make your voice heard now, because when we get to the meeting, we're not going to do like we did last year, where people are just standing up and voicing their opinion about changes and this and that, and making a whole scene. And I want to commend them for doing that, because it really made the flow of the meeting so much better. It was still a really long meeting. There were still a couple of snags, as happens when you put human beings into a big room with a couple of beers, a couple of sensitive topics, and it happens. But you know what? All things considered, I am just like, hey, this was well run, well prepared, guys. Like, I just,
Yeah.
I've got to send all the praise to the board. They did a great job. So on weigh and measure, they hit on the dates that those will be: March 1st, 1 to 4 p.m., 1 to 4 p.m. at Whiskey Ridge. The big topic would have been like your average height, or talking about switching the measuring to an average, over being you've got to be under such and such, for buckboard it'd be 52 inch, they're not doing an average like they do at Clinton. They do this. They really vetted this, I think, and they're keeping it where it was at. Their measuring practices are the way they are. They will incorporate a 4x8 sheet of plywood with rubber stall mats attached to it to keep the measuring surface flat for all
Yeah,
equine
used
measure.
to, they just did it on the ground, and a lot of times you had holes or whatever, and so they wouldn't measure properly.
Mm,
So now they're going to incorporate a piece of plywood and some rubber mats, so that way it can be even.
yes. I'll try to keep. I know there's quite a bit here, so I'll try to run through it. And yeah, please jump in if there's anything you can add to it, guys. In order to keep things running smoothly, they're going to have a new flag system, just kind of like you would see at Clinton. They mentioned so red, human ambulance; blue, horse ambulance; yellow, caution or track not clear; green is all clear. Announcers will be aware. They talked about timers and having times called out after every heat. I think because of the way the association currently runs, they're not going to make a change for that this year, but the track is more than welcome to try and supplement what they're doing. If they want to send additional staff to help and relay times, then that's a thing that could be done. I know some tracks do that already. So glad to know that it's a discussion. I just don't expect them to make every change every year. So I don't know. I was just really excited about how well this went. The overturning of a judgment call that was made on the track. This was probably
This is a
one of
big one.
those. This was a big one. This was a strong statement. They said you'll have a 30-minute window. If you have a problem with a call that was made on the track, you will have a 30-minute window after the last race of the day. Meaning, if it's a youth race or if it's a classic race, whatever, last race of the day, you'll have a 30-minute window to bring up any protest, and you have to have overwhelming evidence for them to overturn it.
Video, photo, footage.
Yes. And if you have a protest, you'll be charged a $50 fee paid at the time the protest is made, which will be reimbursed to the person who initiated the protest. This is one of those that I don't know if I don't know if I have a very super developed opinion on it. I think there's something about the $50 fee that makes me feel like maybe it'll be really good, or maybe it'll just like really discourage people. I don't know. I think
So
that
the $50 fee will be refunded if
if they overturn
the
it.
footage is determined to be in your favor.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, Yeah, and I made it
But
known at the meeting, if you want to come and pay me for video footage, I'm wide open to it. Feel free to approach me. We'll talk. We could talk about it.
mean,
You're also welcome to just come and ask. If for some reason I did see it, I mean, yeah, I'm very humane about all this stuff. I everybody wants the right thing to happen,
yeah,
but they're trying to mitigate a bunch of fuss that's hurting the production, that's making a distraction for the production or making a distraction for the staff. They know, like, they need people to understand that they're running a lean staff of people. It's not like they just have extra staff running around to deal with every little problem. I mean, that's
yeah.
just what they have to do to kind of standardize this thing. And so I respect what they did. Um, I don't know on the $50 fee. I think that's going to be one of those that, you know what, and keep in mind on all of these, this is a 1 year thing for starters. Like, this happens this year. Things that don't work or need more changing or finessing, there's next year. We get to talk
well,
about this throughout the season. We get to come back around. There's another meeting next year. These things are not like, hey, it's never going to be different. So just keep that in mind too.
just
Right.
know that the $50 fee is to really keep the people that just bitch to bitch.
There it is. I knew it was coming.
It's to keep them from bitching. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
I mean,
No, you're right.
you're
right.
Man's not wrong.
No, he's right. So we'll see. I could also see where the $50 fee, or the $50 fee makes it worse. Like, I could see that, but I like that there is kind of like this,
Yeah.
this pay to enter thing. Like, if you're gonna get into this argument with me, you give me $50. Okay.
But you do have, so another key element to that is you have 30 minutes from the moment the last race finishes. So as soon as that team crosses the line, you've got 30 minutes from that point to the time that it stops. Like, you cannot bring another complaint. So if it's 31 minutes after, they're not going to allow you. They're going to
And
start a stopwatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And they're not
And
messing with
you
it.
can't bring it up before then either, right?
no. Well, you can
So-
bring it up and say, "Hey, I've got a complaint," and we'll say, "You got to come to us after."
Yeah. I'm gonna go
Okay.
set up like a video complaint stand, like, for 30 minutes after the race. Oh,
we're gonna
man.
end up.
Oh,
We're gonna end up
no.
having to have the little screen, and it's gonna be the play-by-play. Where they've got a review, and we'll have to hold up a flag under further review.
We're gonna make a shitload of extra money on this deal. Oh my gosh. All right, moving on here. First division. Let's see here. We'll continue to be Big Horse Rubber Tire will still be first. There were some complaints about, like, why are we running Big Horse Rubber Tire first? Well,
There's some people that like to run it last.
yeah, but their reasoning was, I want to keep that stock spread out, as far as, like, run it at the start, and then if you want to come back and run, your thoroughbred, your big stock, you want to run it for the classic.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that they were trying to think logistically with a lot of their decisions, which I love. Fireworks, and not just that. Like, you heard it mentioned several times. It's a production, and it is. I understand this as a racer, as a competitor, you are focused on competing,
Yeah.
and
Right.
and I expect racers to be focused on competing.
Sure.
I expect them to be passionate about it. I expect them to be pissed off if something doesn't go their way. That is part of being a competitor. But at the end of the day, it has to come back to being professional and respecting that this is a production. And so, I just, I feel both sides of it so much, but I also respect that the association is trying to keep those really important things. Like, the races will not happen if we do not have an audience, if we do not have a crowd. If the production
Right.
sucks, these events will not be successful. It's
Mhm.
happened before. These, like, people can leave with a bad taste in their mouth if a race cannot end because there's too many hiccups. I'm just telling you, that's what happens. It's a show. It doesn't
Yep.
seem like it when you're down there racing, because you're looking at the person across from you, the people on the track, you're looking at your livestock. I get it, but it's just important. Okay, and so let's just touch on fireworks here because that was kind of
This is a
another
big
interesting
one.
one. Yeah, so there will be a cap of 1,000 rounds of fireworks being shot per heat per team.
And no smoke bombs.
No smoke bombs allowed. They're very, very adamant about this. If a team fails to declare their intent to shoot fireworks and shoot them anyway, they will be disqualified for the entire weekend. And so that means you need to, when you call in, make it clear that you're going to shoot fireworks, and you are by default agreeing that you're not going to have over 1,000 rounds of.
Which is, so yeah. I mean, you're talking about. Listen, I've been a part of teams that have shot 6,000 rounds in one race. All right. But you're talking about 1,000 round cap, which is huge. And people were asking questions like, well, how do you know it's 1,000? Well, the judges made it very clear, and you can tell the difference between 1,000 and 2,000. And if they think that you've shot over 1,000, even if you've shot 1,200, or even if you've shot 1,000, and they think you've shot over 1,000, they have the right to question you, and you have to provide proof that it was only 1,000.
Yeah.
How are you going to do? Okay.
I know.
Tear off the wrapper. I don't know.
I guess I think the thing I like about this is there have been some serious complaints and in my opinion, legitimate complaints about the fireworks. And so you have to declare that you're going to race with fireworks because it allows them to set up their heats in such a way that if you do not want your livestock racing across from fireworks, that you have the ability to request that and get away from it.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I respect that. And I have visibly seen, I've watched this happen where I've seen teams get spooked. I've seen teams run off the track. I've seen it be a problem for outriders. And
it's a safety thing.
It is a safety thing. And at the end of the day, like, you always have to come back to that question of, like, is it safe? And the thing I love about this is the association is not banning them altogether. Even though I think that there is there are definitely some people that are of the opinion of, like, it should be just gone. But there
are a lot of people that think that.
But this is an effort by the association to not take it away completely. It's a compromise in a way, if you ask me. And they didn't tell me that. I am assuming that is just what that's what I perceive it as being. And so again, I just respect what they're doing here because they're still allowing it. They're just and if you're going to get down into the nitty gritty, like, if you're asking the question and antagonizing the subject, like, oh, well, what if I do 1,200 or 1,500? How are you going to know? Bro, look in the mirror. You might be the one that you might be a shit starter. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's think about the sport. Let's think about, like, setting a good example. Let's think about making this safe and making it a great thing for people. And I'm personally, I'm kind of glad there's still going to be some fireworks because it's a thrill. But I like that they're kind of they're making some moves here to make it a little bit better. And I still think that 1,000 rounds of firecrackers, if shot off right, can be pretty loud. So
no kidding.
Yeah, let's just see how it goes. Like I said, this could change. This could change. There's going to be feedback. These are things that you got to set the rule and you got to go try it. So we'll see. Okay. Memberships for a specific race must be purchased no later than 7 days prior to the gates opening.
Yeah, you can no longer purchase a membership for that weekend at that weekend.
Yeah. So you can't go to Baker Spain where they're, like, selling, whatever their ticket price is for the whole week.
$100.
Yeah. Which it'll be higher than that this year, but not substantially higher. But you can't come in there and be like, hey, I've got this $30 membership I paid for, and it gets me in for nothing, or $20 or whatever that fee is. You need to think ahead and plan ahead. Like, they're trying to eliminate those loopholes that just really screw over the track owners. And you could still make the argument that it's still hard on track owners in some situations, but ultimately, I think this is a good step. I think this is a good thing. It's bringing attention, it's bringing awareness, it's acknowledging the track owners, and we see where it goes this year.
Yeah.
Books close before Sunday of each race, or Sunday before each race. When you call in your teams, make sure you let us know there's a specific team you'd like to race. Lineups, as far as like calling people out last second, I think they're trying to do away with that stuff.
There'll be a $10 fee.
Yes,
call out somebody the day of the race.
The day of no. After, yeah, okay, I see, yeah, okay. After the lineup's set, I see what you're saying. So not even just day of the race, but after they've set it. So it could be like Monday before the race, I guess, and you'd pay the $10 fee.
And
there
then
will also be a $10 fee for teams.
There's also a $10 fee for teams who call in but don't show up.
Yep.
And those will all be due by the time the next sanctioned race happens.
Yeah. I don't know who the bounty hunter is going to be.
Probably the treasurer.
Yeah. We're going to.
Well, so what it is you can't pay for your tarp fees at that next race without paying for the last.
Yeah.
That if you didn't show up.
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of, there's a couple more things here. They mentioned the Outrider of the Year and the Rookie of the Year back. I'm not going to go into big details on that. Reach out to Janet Priscilla if you want to know more on the subject of going back to 46 track. They're not changing. They're not changing any track distances. I think for the reasons that for those of you that really care, it's reasons that you've probably already heard. Random drug testing. They talked about that for drug testing equine athletes, just to make sure
to do that this year.
They're not going to do it this year. I'm glad that they brought it up and acknowledged it, because if there are people out there that are worried about these things, I'm just glad that they're acknowledging it. And that's just saying, that's where we're at right now. I can respect that. I realize that that's another big step they got to take, and they're doing a lot of stuff this year. They were talking about ball caps. Ain't going to happen. You're going to wear a cowboy hat, no hat, or safety helmets that fall into I guess, what they'd expect. So pretty good. You're going to get DQ'd for wearing a ball cap. They just want to keep it cowboy, and that's okay, in my opinion. I don't know why there would be like a big argument. Like, I really want to wear a baseball cap when I ride. Okay. If I don't get to, I'm going to be very upset. I don't think it matters. That's another one of those things. If you're the guy saying that, you might look in the mirror. Just take a minute. Just think about it. I don't think it matters. I'm sorry. Telling it like I think it is, but put something in the comments below and cuss me out if you disagree. Brad talked about Cooks getting in the wagon, and I'm trying to remember what that was. I think it was that you got to be behind it.
It was just talking about how a lot of people take their time trying to get into the wagon, or I don't know if that's on purpose, so you're trying to make sure that you're being safe, or if you're trying to screw over the other team. But you've got to, if you're going to be out there and you're going to be racing, make sure that you are getting in the wagon as fast as you can and as safe as you can.
Yeah. And then the last one to kind of close the deal was pertaining to youth, which Julie Pennington ended up getting voted onto the board this year. And then she's going to be in charge of a lot of this, but they've changed it from youth being 14 years old is the oldest to being 13 this year.
No, so they went down to 12.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to be 12 by
and
the
under.
12 and under by the
for
date
youth,
by the first race.
by the first race of the season.
Yes. This hit a chord with just a couple of people, and I think that probably just it created a little bit of a rise. That was probably one of the only times in that meeting that there was some going back and forth there. And I think, passionate parents who are passionate about their kids racing, I understand the passion. It sounds like there's maybe a conversation to be had that
if you are
and if you don't,
over 12 even if it's, so let's say you don't make the first race, but you make the second race. If you're over 12 by that first race that you go to, you have to be in the adult division.
That part was interesting to me. I don't think that to me, that particular little detail, I guess it could go either way, because if you're saying like, oh, well, you only have to make half the races and you're going to be a 13-year-old for the second half of the season and you could win a buckle. I just don't think I don't know that I think that particular detail would have mattered very much whenever I think about everything else I've ever done in my life, competition wise, that was like age based. You're a certain age by a certain date, and that's how the year goes. I mean, a kid can't help it. And the thing that I don't like, if it happened, this would just be like a very like outlier situation. But if like a kid can't make it to the March race in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, but then like on March 24th, a day later, they turn 13, and then April 5th and 6th comes up and they're ready to race in Arkansas where they only had to drive an hour or two. That's the
only thing that's the only thing that kind of struck me odd, is that the date could be different for everybody depending on whether or not you could make it to a particular race.
Yeah.
So
so that's the way that I understood it was. Yeah. So as long as you hadn't been to a race that season, so if you hadn't been to the first, second, or third race and you decide to go to the fourth race, but you just turned 13 a month before that, then you have to go into the adult division. That's what I understood.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, you know what? I'm not going to say that what they did this year was perfect, but I am going to commend them on making a really, really good effort. And I'm talking like they made these meetings very well known that they were going on. I don't know if they were publishing anything about any of these rules post meeting, like these open forum type meetings where maybe like something like the youth thing, maybe just to say, hey, we're considering this and this and this, we're shutting down talking about it after this date, whatever, like submit your ideas or your complaints. They're going to get they're just going to get a little better about that, like as they go. These are the things that you learn when you're trying to make a lot of things better and you're trying to be more professional and you're trying to take, this association that's growing vastly, and you're adding tracks on and you're trying to have it all under control with a small volunteer board, right? Give them a little bit of grace if you're.
Well, and they're trying to give you your chance to say something. So,
and they're trying, So like I said, guys, if you got anything that really eats you up about this year, please have just have an adult conversation with your board member, like that's whatever division your issue is relevant to, or shoot Brad House a message or whoever, like try to hit whoever it's most relevant to, because that's what they're trying to do. But like have those conversations, and it doesn't have to be an argument. They're really trying hard to do everybody right. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So give them some
thing
grace.
is, on the youth anyways, is a lot of the decision making, I believe, behind that was the fact that they don't necessarily they don't necessarily get the income in the youth. They don't get, so all the stuff that the association does and all the money that they raise and everything like that, none of that goes towards the youth. The youth is a completely different thing. And if you want to donate to the youth, do that by all means. Reach out to Julie Pennington You know, I'm sure she would be happy to take donations or whatever the case may be. But all of the buckles and all of that, usually at every race, now there's a couple of them that the owners will pitch in, but most of the races, the owners don't buy buckles or prizes for the youth. That all comes out of the youth's fundraising. So when you don't give to the youth don't get awards.
For the people that are trying to be solution minded with this, some comments came up about, why don't you have like an adolescent division? And that's where it really boils down to the funds again. Like you already don't have enough funds for the youth, but to create another division where you need more buckles and all that and prize money or whatever that may be. They're trying to do the best they can. And they also know, like, it's not like we've got hundreds and hundreds of kids in this deal, we know who we're working with. We know how many kids there are. And so this wasn't like a decision that was just made lightly. It was like, this is going to be for the betterment of the youth division right now, because most of our kids are still young enough that they're riding with their parents. And then you have adolescents that can come out and they can just sweep them off the track. And so I think that that's what they're trying to mitigate. That conversation can go in circles pretty easily. And I understand where parents are coming from. I'm a parent too. I get it. But I think that these are all, I'm just proud. I'm proud of what the board has done to try to make steps in the right direction this year. And like I said, may not be perfect. There will be changes next year. There will be. And we've got to give them that grace and let the criticism be constructive. Don't let it just be harsh. I ask you guys just to do that, because the sport needs that. The sport deserves that. The people that are volunteering their time. The future is bright. Let's keep it bright. Let's keep attitudes positive and give them a round of applause for really, I think was a really good meeting. So.
Yep. And congratulations to Julie Pennington for getting the buckboard division board member seat. And then also Tristan Head for the 46-inch pony division board seat.
I appreciate you sticking around. Don't forget, episode 3 of the Great Wagon Race of season 2 will be released this Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, exclusively on the Chuckwagon channel. So subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. Congratulations again to Matt Peaches Smith and Janet Priscilla on their engagement. So happy for you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, thank you for supporting what we do. And we will see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.